Hello everybody, my name is Dave and today's video is about the SteelSeries Nimbus wireless controller. This is a wireless controller for your brand new Apple TV 4. It has some great features that can only be found on the Apple TV, like pressure sensitive buttons, lightning connection so that you can connect into your controller and charge it with your lightning cable that came with your iPhone. It doesn't come with the Nimbus box. There's also a rechargeable 40-hour battery, so you're going to get a lot of gaming on a single charge. It works with the Apple TV as well as the iPhone, iPad, iPod, and also your Mac, but they're not as easy to configure as you think, and there are only certain games that are supported to use with the controller. I think with the Apple TV there you find a lot more support. Now I have these three controllers out, and today's video is going to be more in depth about comparing the Siri remote with the Nimbus controller. But let's get this out of the way. This is the size of your Nimbus controller. It's a little bit taller than an Xbox wired controller. The stick buttons, the sticks are located in different locations, as well as the D-pad. It's up here on the upper left. There's a menu button that's required. It's actually the pause play button as well. And you need that if you're going to build a controller for the Apple TV. On the top here, as compared to the 360, is we have the left and right shoulder buttons, L1, L2, R1, R2. And that's what that looks like as compared to the 360. So let's put that aside. This video is mainly more about the controller and the Siri remote, so that you could decide whether or not you want to buy a second Siri remote for the second player, or you want to buy a controller and what you can do with this controller that you can't do with the remote, and what you could do with the remote that you can't do with the wireless controller. So let's get an elephant out of the room before we even continue with this video. Now, if you're from an Apple ecosystem, the Apple TV is for you. If you have a lot of games that you purchased on your iPad or on your iPhone, and you have your family invested in all these apps that may or may not come to the Apple TV, the casual gaming experience also, if you want more hardcore games, and you have a lot of purchased 360, Xbox 360 games or Xbox One games or whatever, you might want to stick with that ecosystem, and maybe even buying a controller is probably out of the question. But like with my family, we have all these iOS games, so a controller actually makes sense. But let's continue now with the review. Let me show you first what came in the box, and strangely enough, it doesn't have an instruction booklet. It basically has this small instruction booklet that you get with the remote. You don't get that wire that you need to charge this. And this is a very basic instruction on how to pair it and things like that in all different languages. But it really doesn't talk more about, all the things that you can do and how to configure it. It doesn't even help you to install it on your Mac. There's a lack of instructions. It's just something that you would think that makes common sense to put inside the box, but it doesn't. So let's get this box out of the way, and let's talk more about the functionality of your Siri remote first, so you can get an idea of what this control can do. So to navigate around your Apple TV, you use the touch pad here. It's a glass touchpad. You can go left to right, and you can go up and down. You can also click on the sides here, and it'll emulate, like clicking on the old remote left to right and all that stuff. But basically, if you just click right here in the center, it will actually select. That's the select button, okay? So we also have two buttons here. Now the menu button is a go back button. It goes back one step, okay? So let's go into like a YouTube app here. And if you want to go completely home, like say you're, deep inside the app and you just want to go straight to the home page, the springboard, boom, there it is. You press this button here. This is the home button. Now, on the Nimbus, you can't control volume like you can with the Siri remote. And pause and play, I think you use the menu button when you're in a movie or a YouTube video. You press the menu button and it'll actually pause the video and then press it again to play the video. It doesn't have the Siri button, so you won't be able to use Siri. So if you love Siri and you love the app switcher, now you can't app switch with your Nimbus controller. I tried to do it, I couldn't find it. So when I talk about app switcher, if you hit the home button twice, you jump into your app switcher and you can scroll across and close out apps or jump straight to another app. You can't do that with the Nimbus controller. By the way, when you're charging your Nimbus controller with your lightning cable, you can't use the controller while it's charging. That's another downside that you have there. As far as navigating around on your Nimbus, you navigate using, well, let's go back to the home. So I'm going to hit the B button and that'll take me home. But we'll talk about that in a second. Now, if you navigate around, you can navigate with the left stick here. You can also navigate with the shoulder buttons left to right. Okay? You better off using the D-pad because you can go down, you can go side to side, and it moves it in a clicking fashion. If you press and hold it, it goes fast. So that's probably what they mean by the pressure sensitive. As in regards to the menu screen, not in gaming. Maybe that might be a little bit different. So now the buttons here on the main menu, you only basically use the A and the B button. The B button is the menu button or the go back button. So if I was to hit B, it would go back one step. If I hit menu on the remote, it goes back one step. Now the A is actual the click button. So if you click on your Siri remote, you click into something, that's what you're using here to click into something. So that's your click button in regards to comparing these two. Now, as far as using a home button, if you press and hold the menu button, that is your home button for your Nimbus. So we hit the home button. If we tap it, it's a go back. But if you press and hold it, it's your home button. So does that make sense to you? I don't know. With this home button, you press the home button and it goes home. So you press and hold the menu button and it's the go home, or you click it and it's a go back button. So your B is your back step, and your click on the menu is your back step. Your hold, boom, and that's the only home button you got. You could try to double press your home button here, and you don't get into an app switcher. You get into a screensaver. As far as Siri, you can't use Siri. You can't control volume. So that's the things you may want to consider in buying a second Siri remote or using your Nimbus for games only. But as far as navigating through the screen, the good news is you can actually pair your Apple TV Siri remote at the same time as the Nimbus. So you could see here, I can navigate through, any way I want with the Siri remote. And without having to unpair it and pair this one, you can navigate as well through here. So that's a plus. You can, scroll through. I don't like using the stick because it's like, you have to really get into it. And the shoulders are okay, but it's only left and right. So better off just using this here, using the A as the select and the B as the go back and the menu as the home button. Basically, that's it. So it has the on and off switch. It has the pairing. Pairing is easy. You just press and hold. It shows up. Let's show you that real quick. So you go into here. You go into remotes and devices, and you go to Bluetooth, and you see that both are connected nicely. Now let's go into a game. By the way, the games are not as advanced. There's basically when you use the Nimbus controller, you're using like one or two buttons, and you're using the movement button with this D-pad here. It's not really getting really involved like you do with 360, having a million different controls. But I haven't, to be honest, I haven't really played a lot of games on the Apple TV. I have the games on my phone. They haven't come to the Apple TV or whatever the case is. So let's now just hit our home button here. And let's see some of the games that I have All right, so now we're going to go down to my games, and we have the Beach Buggy Racing. Okay, so we'll click onto Beach Buggy. You could do this with this remote, but you go onto Beach Buggy, and the game will load up. Now on the Apple TV, the developer is only allowed to make a very small app to put on the Apple TV, and then most of the loading happens when you open up the game for the first time, and then all that info saves to like iCloud or whatever it may be, so that it could be reloaded onto the Apple TV. So maybe in the future they'll allow more things to happen. So we click on with the A button, and we can go into a game. Now, split screen game for this Beach Buggy game, you have to pay for it. It's like a $4 purchase or something like that, a $5 purchase. But we're not going to do that. We'll just go and play our Beach Buggy. So we can just hit career, and we'll choose a series. So you're using the A button to hit, and then Easy Street A button, and then you can just select a game. So we'll hit that, we'll hit play, and we'll enter the race. It's going to load up the race, and we'll skip through that. Now, the tilt you don't have. Now, that's something that the Siri remote has that you won't have on your Nimbus controller. So we're going to hit the right shoulder button by default is the gas. So we're hitting right shoulder, and we're going to ride through. Now your brake is the weapons button is A, and your B is your brake. So all right, so right shoulder 2 is your acceleration, and A is your your magical weapon over there, and Y is going to be your item on your left there. So we're going to hit the gas pedal. Now the brake is B, A, forward. I'm sorry, I can't chew gum and play games at the same time. A is your special, and you can hit the brake and drift in this game. Now, as far as pressure sensitive, I don't know. What is pressure sensitive going to do in this game? Not much. So we'll hit B, and that's it. So now let's switch over to the Siri remote, and yeah, we'll continue. And now the Siri remote tells you to tilt it to the side because it has the gyroscope in it. So we're gonna. We're upside down. All right, so yeah, so you tilt it this way now, and you click to use your item. So that's the A button on the other thing. Oh, hit a tree, I'm dead. So to brake, that's the pause button. So that's not it. And to use your item, you're going to use this pause play button here. Actually, you click and you use the item. To use turbo, you hit the play pause button. Alright, so you're using this remote. I don't know, it all depends what your experience, what you like to do. Let me click and use my nitro. Alright, let me click and use my nitro. Nitro happens to be one of the items, but also so is the upper left little wheel symbol there. That's your turbo. After a certain amount of time, you get some turbo or whatever. So, I kind of like the feel of the actual remote itself, because that's what we're used to playing. So let me. Okay. So I'm used to playing on a remote. Brake. Oh, so I keep forgetting about the shoulder pad. So shoulder, right shoulder, we're going. All right, I lost the game. So you get the idea of how it works. You're using this remote, or you're using this remote. It really doesn't make a difference. But if you like that feel of holding an actual remote and maybe having some more configuration on the buttons. But as far as the Apple TV menu goes, you may be happier with using the Siri remote. One thing I should mention before we end this video is that if you want to update your Nimbus controller, the firmware inside it, you have to use an iPhone app. You have to use the pairing button on the controller and connect to your iOS device. There is no driver support or an app for Mac, or even just a way to control it. There's no instructions, there's nothing. So we connect to the Nimbus with our iPhone or iPad or iPod Touch, and we're connected in. And now you download that app, and you have to open up that app. And in order to get an update, it will automatically just know that you're connected, and it will update through this screen right here. It tells you what games you can use on iOS, not on the Apple TV. But what if you don't own an iPhone? What if you only have an Apple TV and an Android device? Or you don't even have a Mac or anything like that? How are you going to get updates on this Nimbus device? That's the downside. They need to make an Mac app and maybe even an Apple TV app that can update your Nimbus controller. As far as connecting to the Mac, there is no support. There's only this little app that you download that has it on or off or whatever. And I don't even think it's for this controller. I think it's for the first generation SteelSeries. So that's one thing that may come in the near future. I don't know. But for now, using it on an Apple TV, it works pretty good. Good luck with all the other devices that this is compatible with. You see that you gotta have a whole bunch of games and everything, which is nice. And most likely, if they work on here and if they come to the Apple TV, they'll work there too. Anyway, I'm open to answering any questions that you may have. Please leave them in the comments. I'll get back to you quickly. This is pretty much the remote. This is my review, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.